Besties, the importance of savings cannot be overemphasized because your savings can literally save you, but yet many people don't save. The first reason people don't save is because they think they don't have enough money. They say they are earning too little. Some people say things like, I've not finished feeding myself. How can I now have extra to save? And that's because they think saving has more to do with how much they earn. Then lo and behold, they actually earn more and they still don't save, because saving is not about the money. It has more to do with the habit of saving. And I know if you are that kind of person that feels you're earning too little, you can say, oh yeah, now wait first, let me start earning the big money, then let's see if I would save or not. I can tell you for a fact that you would absolutely not save, because saving is a habit. This video, of course, was very important to me to share because I reached a stage in my life where I hit rock bottom, and what literally saved me were my savings. In fact, my savings were too low that even though my savings saved me a little, I still had to rely on my support network to save me. And I just reached the stage where I told myself, absolutely not. From now onwards, you're going to take savings so seriously so that you would have a buffer money. When I say savings, I actually mean emergency savings, because for me, that's the main kind of savings that I do. After I have my emergency savings, then I focus on investment. But we can't be talking about investment when we've not learned how to save. If you feel you're not saving because you are not earning enough, instead of complaining about the fact that you're not earning enough, why not let's focus on you actually earning enough? And at this point, I don't want you to complain about the government, don't complain about inflation, don't complain about someone that did something somewhere that is preventing you from earning enough. If you feel that you've reached rock bottom to the point that you cannot save at all, even though I actually believe that so far you have a job, you can save something from it, or so far you have a source of income, you can save something from it. Of course, if you've reached a stage where you cannot even feed, that's a different category. But I mean, you have an income, even though it may not be enough for you, you can absolutely save. But now, let's say, regardless of whether you have hit rock bottom or whether you just feel you don't have enough to save, it is important to be honest with yourself and reflect on how you can make more money. Instead of complaining about what's not working, think about how you can make what you have work for you. And if you're someone that would love to know more about how to earn more money, and I don't mean any multi-level marketing scheme or any get rich quick scheme, I mean you consistently making money with your skill, your knowledge, experience. I've filmed a video where I talked about how to make more money, and I'm going to be linking it up right here. My point is, regardless of how much you are earning, learn to cultivate that habit of saving. Hey besties, before we move over to the next point, I'm currently editing and I realized that I talked a lot about building that saving culture, which is very important. But there is this saying that there is a limit to how much you can cut, but there is no limit to how much you can earn. Meaning, you can imbibe the habit of saving, which is extremely important, and I encourage you to do so. But if your income is so minimal, then prioritize making more money. And you can look at me and say, oh, is it that easy? See, in life, there is an element of hard in everything. Making money, you can call it hard, but being broke is also hard. And as I said in this video, you can choose to make excuses and blame government, blame everyone, than just taking responsibility and making the most of what you have. You see this saying that all fingers are not equal. That is true. We all have different privileges, but the thing is, we all have our own unique selling points that we can actually optimize. Yours could be you effortlessly making good friends. Maybe you know how to gather people around. That's something that you can monetize. You can make money off anything, especially in this digital age. But the thing is, most people lack that determination and discipline, because making money, you have to put in the work. If you can actually put in the work, be disciplined, you'll be so surprised how you make so much money, because there are people not putting in the work. So if you're now putting in the work, you are going to reap that benefit. By the way, I'm talking so quietly because it's night right now. So that's that. Also, if you are in debt, I would not advise you to start saving, because if you are owing someone money, I don't expect you to be saving. I expect you to focus on paying up your debt. The only exception is maybe if you have student loans, especially for people in the US or people in countries where the student loans can take years to pay up. Of course, if you're in that category, then please be saving and be paying up your loan. But if you are, for instance, an immigrant in the UK, I can understand that if maybe you are currently paying your school fees, savings may be the last thing on your mind. Personally, when I was a student studying for 2 years, the last thing on my mind was savings. Like, every money I made just went into paying my school fees. So basically, in whatever I say, apply it to your unique situation. So let's continue. And this links me to my next point. You don't save because you have high saving plans. Let me explain. I met someone that was complaining about how she had no savings. And I was asking her, okay, how many percent of your income do you save? And this person saved about 50%. Make it make sense. You don't have the habit of saving. Why are you saving 50% of your income? Why not start with, even if it is 5%? Yes, when I say saving, I don't mean you need to start from the highest level. No, sometimes the reason why you're not achieving your goals is because you're making your goals so difficult. I read this book, Atomic Habits, and the author, James Clear, talked about the fact that when you have a goal, make your goal so simple that it would be almost impossible for you not to achieve them. So let's say you have it as a habit that you want to start saving. Why would you start from 50% when you don't even know how to save? But if you start with as little as I said, 5%, it's so inconsequential that you would end up saving. Now, back to my first point where I said some people don't save because they feel they don't have enough money. Let's say in Naira, you're earning like 100,000 Naira in a month. Now, of course, someone can say, oh, that's actually a small amount of money as a salary. Now, if you're earning that, why not save 5%? That 5% from your 100,000 Naira is going to be 5,000 Naira. If you feel 100,000 Naira is too small, then of course 95,000 Naira should also be too small. So it makes no difference. So just save the 5,000 Naira. That's the logic. Like, you don't have to spend every single thing you are earning. You can remove 5%, worst case scenario. And as you build the habit of saving, you can now start with, okay, 10%. Then you can progress to 15% and keep progressing. Personally, there is a limit to how much I progress when it comes to savings, because as I said earlier, my own is investment. The ultimate goal is investment, but you can save to the point that you have enough buffer money. Now, a lot of financial experts will say you should have at least your 3 to 6 months of your expenses saved up, meaning take a look at how much you spend in a month. If you are abroad, for instance, that would include like your rent money, your electricity, your water bill, those basic things. Now calculate all of that and times it by 3 or by 6. That should comprise of your emergency funds. So you're supposed to save that money. Personally, I even go higher than that. So I, in my mind, have a particular amount of money I need to save, and that would comprise of my emergency fund. I've not reached the stage where I can say I have my emergency fund, because recently I had a significant change in circumstances that really ate into my savings, and as such, I'm starting afresh, or no, not afresh. But even at that, I'm not putting myself under unnecessary pressure to save to the point that I don't even have a life. I know people that will say things like, oh, they are saving money and they can't wear good clothes, they can't be in a good apartment, they can't even eat well because they are saving. It's not that deep. If you can bring out 5% every month, that is something. I know you are a perfectionist. I know you are a high flyer. You have lofty goals. Why not bring it down? Come down to earth and start saving, no matter how small. You know that phrase that little drops of water makes a mighty ocean? I think that's the phrase. It really applies in terms of savings. You may think that 5% you're saving is small money, but when you actually keep saving, it starts compounding. And when I say saving, I hope you don't think I mean saving in a savings account. I don't mean your normal savings account. Now, you can save that way. It is better to do anything than doing nothing. So if what works for you right now is having a savings account, that's fine. Personally, I believe in having a high yield savings account. That way, I'm not just saving for free. I'm saving, I'm not paying any tax on my savings. Also, I am earning interest, like proper interest, because using my savings account, I may be earning like very little interest. Now, if you want me to talk more about these high yield savings accounts, you can let me know in the comment section. The point is, let your saving goal be attainable. Let it be realistic. First form the habit, then we can now go up from there. Hey besties, I should also say it here that apart from having a high yield savings account, you can also have a cash ISA. They actually work in a very similar manner. Of course, there are differences. As I said, if you want me to make an extensive video on this, let me know. The thing is, I have various video ideas and I'm not going to make a video I'm not sure you want to watch. So let me know and I'll be sure to make that video for you. Let's get right back into it. Now, the third reason why you don't have savings is because you lack financial intelligence or you don't understand what saving can do for you. I said it earlier about the high yield savings account, making you know that see, saving is not just about you saving for rainy days, it's also about you multiplying your wealth. The difference between saving in a high yield savings account and investment is that investment is more long term, or it should actually be tilted towards long term compared to savings, because for savings you are saving your money for an emergency, and the beautiful thing is you are still earning that interest and you can easily bring out your money if you want, compared to investment where you may need to like liquidate your stocks or some of your assets. Also, when you are a financial illiterate, you will not realize that saving would actually improve your peace of mind. A lot of us have anxieties. You are so stressed. You cannot even quit your job and know that you'll be okay because you don't have savings. But if you have savings, you can comfortably not work for a couple of months, maybe because your job is toxic or maybe they even fire you or something, and you will still have that peace of mind because at the very least you have savings. There are people that if they don't work for 1 month, they are homeless. They are going to not even have food to eat. And I know this because that literally used to be me, where if I don't work for 1 month, it is finished. And I had to learn that, see, this is not a way to live life, especially those of us abroad. We know how the bills choke, and it can reach a point where you are literally living from one paycheck to another. But if you learn to cultivate that habit of saving, it would improve things. Now, it's not going to be like an automatic magic that your life would now be perfect, but it would give you a little bit of that stability, especially if you keep saving over time. The power of compounding would work for you, and compounding is literally when things get stacked up onto each other. So the more you save, in January you save, February you save. Now you may start saving with small money, as I said, 5%, 10%, heck, even 2%. It is better than you eating all your money. If you are eating everything that is coming into your account, I don't think that's very wise. I don't think so. So before we move over to the fourth point, if you're enjoying this video, I want to hear in the comment section, do you think I should keep making content like this or not? So now the fourth point is the reason why you don't save is because lifestyle inflation. You want to keep up with the Joneses. You want to have what every other person has. The latest iPhone comes out, your iPhone is okay, there is no issues, you don't need to change, but you change it just because you want to belong, or you want to wear the latest designers, like you just want to be among. You have to learn to practice delayed gratification, because if you keep buying everything that you see, you're not going to have any form of savings. And that's something that I also had to learn about delayed gratification. For me, my main issue was in terms of traveling. I love to travel. Ideally, I would love to travel every single month. Now I had to sit down with myself and tell myself the truth that, see babes, you cannot afford to travel monthly right now. And it was a difficult conversation or a difficult meeting I had to have with myself, but it helped me because I realized travel was important to me and there is no guilt in that. But then to actualize that vision or that dream or that desire without jeopardizing my future, it is important to structure how I do my traveling. Sometimes that means me delaying gratification. So me telling myself, okay, instead of traveling every single Eke market day, why not sit down and plan what country do you actually want to go to? Then how can you make it work? So now maybe instead of traveling to 12 countries in a year, why can't you travel to 4 countries and ensure that you save towards that travel and you will still have a good time? So that way I'm able to do what I love doing, which is travel, but then I am still saving towards my future. Now, delaying gratification can be different things to different people. For you, it could be you actually not going to get the biggest accommodation and get maybe a smaller one because you know you need to cut down on your expenses. It could be you deciding to sit at home and cook instead of going out and spending that money every single week. It can just be different things. So I encourage you today to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what do I need to cut down on? Now, this leads me smoothly to my last point, which is you do not track your finances. See, it is very important to know what is coming in. You cannot save when you don't even know how much you are earning. If you're not self-aware, you will just be spending. And one of the best ways to save is actually to treat saving like an expense. What I mean by this is the same way in a month you sit down and decide that, okay, this amount goes for rent, this amount goes for this and that. Put savings as a bill in a month. Let's say you are earning £1,500. You can say in a month, I'll be saving £100. So the same way you are saying, okay, rent this amount, grocery this amount, put savings as a bill. Track your finances, track your expenses. That way, it is not a matter of debate. What people do about saving is that they keep saving as a last thing. They spend on every other thing. Savings and investments are like the last. So you think you are going to save and invest your spare change. You want to spend. Then what remains will now be the savings or investment. No wonder you have no savings or investment, because at the end of the month, nothing would remain. And it's not even a curse. It's not because you're not earning enough. It's because you've treated savings and investment like nothing, and you would have nothing. Prioritize that savings. Saving does not mean you should not enjoy life. Like, you should have enjoyment funds. I call it guilt-free spending funds. So for people that like to enjoy life, you should have an amount you've put in a month to enjoy that life. And once that amount exceeds, you are done. You don't have the money. So instead of touching that your savings or your investment, if you don't have the money for the next shoe, the next bag, you don't have the money and you move on. And if you inculcate these steps, you will develop a better saving culture. Now, I'm not going to end here. I'm going to give you a bonus point. But before I give that bonus point, if you want a one-on-one session with me, I have slots monthly. Click the link in the description box to make your payment and you can book a slot with me. Now, the last point pertains mainly to Africans, and that is black tax. If you don't know what that is, of course, if you are African, you would definitely know that black tax literally is when people back home start asking you for money, and there is that responsibility, or in quotes, obligation, or sometimes even entitlement, where people back home expect you to give them money. And when I say back home, I don't even just mean this applies to only people in diaspora. Even if you're in Nigeria, you still experience black tax, where people actually expect money from you. And if you don't give, you're seen as selfish, you're seen as stingy, especially if you are anything like me, a first daughter, or you are a first son or firstborn, whatever the case. There are people that are even middle children that experience this. I don't know if lastborns experience it. If you do, tell me. Okay, now I'm discriminating against last ones, but actually I don't know if they experience it. But for the most part, a lot of older children experience it, and it can be quite difficult, because most times you would end up not even having a life. You will not have savings or investment, because there is someone that is literally demanding money from you. Some are not even nice when they ask you for money. And if you are a people pleaser, you would end up giving money that you should even be saving or investing. I watched this Nollywood movie on YouTube. It's called 10 Million Ways to Love. I think you should go and watch it. You would absolutely love it. But let me give you a little spoiler. This lady literally got 10 million naira for her business. And you will not believe, immediately her family knew she had the money. That's how from one story to another, these people started asking for money, and she was a people pleaser. The next thing, that money gone. And that's what literally happens. One thing I tell myself is, I cannot pour from an empty cup. Meaning, if I'm not standing strong, I can't even help anyone, whether it's back home or even abroad. Like, if I'm not standing strong, I can't help anyone. And as such, I ensure I prioritize saving and investing. So if you're the kind of person that you are having lots of black tax, what I think you should do, you should have a separate fund. And the same way you have like a pot for savings, for your bills, have a fund for giving, or you can call it black tax or whatever. And from that money, you can give out to anyone you want to give out. That way, you don't see it as an obligation. It just feels like you are giving out of love. And once that money finishes, you don't have money. The same way when your guilt-free spending fund finishes, you don't have money for spending. When that your giving fund or your black tax fund, whatever you want to call it, finishes, you don't have money. Even if someone is saying that, oh, their great grandmother, grandfather need money for, see, if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. If not, you will just end up being depleted. You would have no savings. Imagine being, for instance, in the UK or in the US or in Canada or in Australia or wherever for 10 years, 5 years, and you don't have any nickel to your name. And this is not even a joke. There are lots of people that are abroad, they don't have money, but they won't tell you they don't have money. You won't even know they don't have money because they look good, they show up nice. But because this black tax thing, it is a cancer that's eating very deep into the fabrics of our society. But I think with these nuggets, you would be able to have a better attitude towards saving. Now, I'm going to be linking up a playlist filled with financial videos like this. And of course, as I said earlier, if you like this content, I really want to know if you want me to continue creating them. And until next time, my loves, I want you to stay happy and blessed. And I'm going to see you, my loves, in my next one. Bye.